The Oregon Ducks emphatically get a rivalry win over the University of Washington on Saturday night down in Eugene, 49-21. And that was a game where, heading into it, we all knew, Washington heading into that game was 6-0 at home, 0-5 on the road. They'd had their road struggles coming off a bye week, even though Jedd Fisch had signaled, I'm not going to tell you who the starting quarterback is going to be. We all knew it was going to be Devon Williams.
Right? Yeah.
And I will say this about that young man. He is going to be a damn good quarterback.
He showed some, not just flashes, but he looked poised and like he had control over things out there.
He did not
The lights
flinch.
were not too big.
He did not flinch. He did get sacked 10 times. And some of those are on a true freshman getting his first start ever. And he will learn that, maybe not going 17 of 20, maybe going, 17 of 25 is going to be okay as well. And you learn to play another down. But he is a true freshman. He stepped in. I thought he played very admirably for UW because that is a tough situation to get your first career start on the road against the number one team in the country in a rivalry game where there was bad taste in Oregon's mouth over what had happened over the previous 2 years. And you saw and you heard from the Oregon seniors what that game meant to them. And whether it was a senior who's been here for 2 years in Tez Johnson or who said, I don't even know how many times he said in his post-game interview how much he hates Washington.
Whatever it was a bunch, but it still wasn't enough.
Look, and if we're being honest, that's what rivalry should be, right? What we saw unfold over the weekend, right? Where you have fights in Columbus. You've got fights in Carolina with North Carolina State and North Carolina. You get near fights in Texas where Sark is having to pull his guys off the A&M logo. And like
I think only one game had pepper spray though, right?
only one with pepper spray.
Yeah.
We'll get to
So
that.
that's good.
Whoa, Nelly.
Wow.
But a rivalry where that game was played clean. It was a game that, it was in hand for most of it. At no point, even when it was 14-6, you never really thought like Oregon's in trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
No, they played a clean game through and through. It never got to the point where you have the fisticuffs line, which sure that gets fan bases going, but you want there to be a little bit of bad blood.
Yeah,
it's okay to acknowledge that. Bryce Betcher was the one who acknowledged it before the game and after the game, and having a 4-year guy who's from Eugene who's saying like he doesn't even like the color purple.
Yeah.
That's what rivalry should be about in college sports. That's what makes it great. And
I guess it only makes sense that the Washington Huskies wear purple because they think that much of themselves. That was the former color of royalty, like back in medieval times.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, I
because it was super rare.
I wanted to ask the follow up to Bryce, and I'm kicking myself I didn't in the post game because he said he didn't like the color purple. He went to South Eugene High School, which is purple, purple and white. So maybe he just fueled him every time he put on the purple for South Eugene.
Maybe he was just talking about that Whoopi Goldberg movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't think he was.
That was derailing.
I don't think he is a cinephile to that degree. Right. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to ask him moving forward.
Yeah.
But you saw a team come out after a bye week in Oregon that how much that bye week actually meant to them, right? We had talked about the 8-game stretch where it was all conference games, just one right after another. And no other team in the country had gone through that. And people were wondering, hey, what's going on with the offense? The war of attrition where you're starting to get those nicks and bumps and bruises over the course of the season. That bye week meant a lot to just get fresh legs and kind of rejuvenate them, come back. Game plan was obviously sound on both sides of the football because if you look at the efficiency of it, Oregon only faced 8 third downs the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And they converted 5 of them, right?
Yeah.
But when you put up 49 points, you score 7 touchdowns and only face 8 third downs, your offense is humming.
Yes.
7 for 7 in the red zone. The balance in which they had, it looked like 236 through the air, and then before the kneel downs at the end of the game, you had 236 through the air, 226 on the ground. you were 10 yards of separation between your passing and your rushing attack. You were getting everything you wanted, and you were getting all the looks you wanted. Obviously, health played a big factor in that. Tez Johnson being back, and just, I've been talking about this for weeks, the gravity that he brings to the offense, where linebackers, corners, safeties, when he goes in motion, you have to have every level kind of keep eyes on where 15 is going. The first half, he was a decoy.
Mhm.
The second half, you saw they went to him on the third down on the sideline where I think there's defensive holding, and he still was able to come up with a catch. He gets a touchdown catch. He only had 3 touches in the game, but it was the gravity that kind of opened everything up for Oregon's offense. They looked efficient. They were back to rolling. Jordan James was the tone setter, running behind his pads. When that guy, I feel like they just should have put him in to get 1 more yard, because him finishing the day with 99 yards,
Yeah.
it feels like you want to get him that 100th yard.
Well,
He was an animal.
And that was
on
James
Saturday
that
night.
absolutely trucked the guy going down the sideline towards the end of
Yeah.
a run, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, just ran right over him.
And then they paid it off by getting him a touchdown at the end of that drive. He also had the one where his legs got taken out and he went down in like the bear crawl.
Yeah.
Kept his feet, got a few extra yards. Like, Jordan James was a tone setter. He looked fresh. The backs looked explosive again. That's what the bye week will get. And obviously on the defensive side, you tied the school record for sacks in a game with 10. And it was sacks and tackles for loss. And it wasn't just the fact Jordan Birch was back and he's a menace.
Mhm.
And that man is a dangerous human being.
Yes.
But you had 10 sacks and 8 players recording at least a half a sack. You had 16 tackles for loss, 13 players accounting for those 16 tackles for loss.
They dominated that defensive line of scrimmage.
And on
Dominated.
and on the offensive side of the ball, not a single negative play. Washington has 0 tackles for
Yeah.
loss, 0 sacks in the game. Think about that.
That's how you win a game, and that's how you win 49-21.
The only times that Oregon had negative plays were when Dante Moore was taking a kneel down at the end of the game.
That's, hey, I mean, look, and I'm not sure if Isaac and Suk are planning on talking to Dan Lanning at some point this week again, but even as impressive as that performance was, you know he's going to find a couple of little things in there to be like, hey, we can still improve upon this. We can still find a way to do this better.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a talk with Noah Whittington about trying to jump over 2 people and fumbling.
Yeah, that was rough.
But other than that, it was a clean game by every measure for Oregon. And with that, it finished off a 12-0 season. And at 12-0, they're the only FBS team to go through the regular season unblemished. And
I was led to believe the former Pac-12 teams were not supposed to be this good.
oh, you mean 2 of them that are playing in conference championship games in new conferences?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Weird.
Well, all 4 of the big conferences have new members playing in their conference championship
Isn't
game.
that fantastic? I love that.
Or-
This is it's such a great topsy-turvy, upside-down season of college football, and I love every bit of it.
Oregon in the Big 10, Arizona State in the Big 12, SMU in the ACC, Texas in the SEC.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You've got 4 newcomers walking into conferences being like, all right, we're here.
Mhm.
We're here. And for like Arizona State, they were preseason picked to finish dead last in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And they're playing for the conference title.
Dilly.
And the way they're playing, they're probably going to win the damn thing. With Sam Levitt, local guy, playing
Westland?
quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Westland and
Was it-
Westview. I think he played
Was
at
it
both of them.
Westview too?
Yeah.
And did he start out at Michigan State before
Yeah.
transferring?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then went down and is with Kenny Dillingham and Cam Scadaboo.
And that dude, oh
Fun
my
to watch.
Lord, he is a little Miley Cyrus wrecking ball.
That's an interesting way to put it, but I'll agree.
Yeah.
I'll agree. Going 12-0 though, puts yourself in a position to be the number 1 overall seed in the college football playoff. A Big Ten championship game that will feature Oregon and Penn State coming up this Saturday right here on The Fan.